The season starts with Annie as a kid, wandering through hallways, soaking up the history around her. She's curious why died until the day she comes home and finds her mom dead. The loss hits her like a punch, sudden, irreversible, and shapes the rest of her life. Years go by. Annie tries medical school, searching for some kind of order, some place where she fits in, but nothing clicks. She drops out quietly and eventually winds up back at the place she grew up, this time working as a tour guide. It's the first time she feels rooted, like she finally belongs. Then everything changes. The day arrives, and during a tour, everyone's phones explode with alerts. An extinction event is happening. Annie doesn't freeze. She grabs what she can, supplies, a gun from the display, and heads underground with Gale. Above them, the world vanishes in a blink. What's left is survival. Days blur together as they ration food and cling to routine. Then Gale breaks her leg, and Annie tries to patch her up with the scraps of medical knowledge she remembers. It's not enough. Infection takes Gale, and by day 46, Annie's alone. From then on, Annie counts days, 689 in total. The world is smothered in ash, and every day is colder, quieter. Out of nowhere, armed strangers show up. One of them is Link. They start out wary, but after a week, suspicion fades into something real. Link tells Annie about their mission, stopping nuclear plants from melting down, searching for a rumored bunker. Annie gets the chance to leave, but she stays. She can't walk away from the fragile sense of home she's built. The night before they go, she and Link share a quiet moment, just a hint of tenderness, more than either admits. Once they're gone, Annie overhears them talking about killing someone named Alex. The tension barely has time to settle before an explosion lights up the horizon. Annie takes action, finds a crashed aircraft, and inside there's a survivor. Xavier Collins is high above the earth, fighting a dying plane as he tries to reach Atlanta. He has one thing on his mind, find Terry, but the sky isn't on his side. Out of nowhere, a hailstorm hammers the plane and he crashes hard in the middle of rural Arkansas. He makes it out alive, but barely. His leg, a mess. Dizzy and hurting, he drags himself out of the wreckage until a silent boy appears. The kid grabs Xavier's medical kit and leads him to an old, abandoned houseboat. Inside, a handful of kids are hiding out, terrified of raiders and just barely holding on. Then the story snaps back to 2004. Xavier is in Secret Service training. He blows out his knee during a drill and lands in a hospital bed next to Terry. She's all drive, all focus, locked into her career. She just had scoliosis surgery and couldn't see for a while. Xavier doesn't bail. He stays with her day in and day out, steady and stubborn. When she finally opens her eyes and sees him still sitting there, something sticks between them. Jump to now. Xavier takes charge on the houseboat. He calms the kids, reads them James and the Giant Peach, tries to make it feel safe, at least for a little bit. But it doesn't last. A raider finds them. The fight is short and ugly. Xavier kills the guy but gets stabbed in the chaos. The kids help him bury the body, but in the morning, fear wins out. They take off with whatever they can carry, leaving Xavier behind. The only thing they give back is a photo of his own kids, a small apology. Hurt and alone, Xavier hauls himself back toward the plane, then collapses, spent. That's when Annie shows up, the same tough survivor from Graceland. With a flashback, Dr. Louge drops the bomb about the real apocalypse, Venus syndrome. Earth isn't just broken, the surface is withering, inching toward a place where nobody survives. Crushing pressure, brutal heat, and not much time left above ground. Sinatra hears all of this, but she doesn't panic. She listens, processes, and starts running numbers in her head. That same night, Cal Bradford's election is in full swing. Sinatra finds Kane, pushes hard for a critical piece of tech, and right there she starts laying down the bones of a long game. Now in the present, the bunker's air feels heavy. Someone new's in charge, and he's shifted the whole thing into a strict, almost suffocating regime, with propaganda everywhere trying to nail down his control. But underneath, resistance is brewing. One player works from the shadows, swapping coded messages in old books, quietly setting up the rebellion. Meanwhile, someone who used to have more power, now just a driver, starts digging into Billy Pace's death. The clues don't match the official story. All roads lead back to Jane. Everything hits the fan at a high-stakes leadership meeting. Baines pitches this grand plan to bring back Summer, but nothing works. Power keeps leaking out, and it's clear Sinatra's still calling shots from behind the scenes. When it's time to act, she doesn't waste words. That man needs a breath mint, she says. It's code. Jane hears it, moves without hesitation, kills Baines on a jog, slips the weapon onto Nicole while she's out cold. The whole bunker's balance changes in seconds. Another flashback nails it down. Sinatra hired Billy to get violent and secure that crucial tech. Here, where everything shifts, the rival leader gets arrested, but he's not beaten. He swears he'll find the bunker's architect and blow the whole system wide open. Meanwhile, Sinatra, as calm as ever, asks about Alex. That name rings out like a shot, tying together the developer's widow and Link's new target. Suddenly, all the moves on the board start clicking together. Xavier Collins trying to recover at Graceland, but Annie isn't having any of it. She lays it out plain. He's taking her to Colorado to find Link. They spend 2 weeks in a kind of uneasy truce. Xavier heals up, they get supplies together and make a deal. First stop, Atlanta for Terry. After that, Colorado. Along the way, Xavier stumbles on Link's ID and it rattles him enough that it shows up in his dreams. Annie doesn't want to talk, though she's got her eyes set on what's next. But Annie's carrying her own secrets. When nobody's looking, she checks her blood pressure and she doesn't like what she sees. Still, she keeps quiet. They stop at an empty diner and Xavier tries to snap her out of her tunnel vision. He grabs a sack of flour and teaches her how to swaddle, says parenting is a holy charge. For a minute, it almost feels normal. The show jumps between now and then. Back in the bunker years ago, Cal Bradford gets Samantha Sinatra Redmond to let everyone celebrate Louisa, the first woman to give birth underground. In the present, though, Annie's reality hits hard. Her water breaks. She finally tells Xavier what she's been hiding. She has preeclampsia and giving birth could kill her. Xavier sprints to the nearest farmhouse, runs straight into a shotgun, but his desperation gets through, and the farmers help. Against the odds, Annie brings a healthy baby girl into the world. It's not a happy ending, though. Annie starts to hemorrhage right after and knows she's not going to make it. She gives Xavier a letter for her daughter and makes him swear he'll get the baby to Link in Colorado. Her last, heartbreaking wish: don't let her daughter grow up afraid of people. In the end, Xavier holds Annie as she dies. He buries her with the help of the farmers, turns down their offer to keep the baby, and heads out alone. When he reaches Atlanta, it's not just his mission he's carrying, it's Annie's child and the weight of everything that came before. 5 years before everything goes sideways, Gary's just a quiet mailman in Atlanta, living this lonely, routine life, always watching but never really jumping in. His only real friend is Ennis, some guy he met online who's deep into doomsday theories. Once Gary mentions his post office was designed as a fallout shelter, their chats turn serious. Suddenly, the end of the world doesn't feel so far away. When the day finally hits, Gary and Ennis meet for the first time face to face. Gary makes a big choice right away. He takes in Bean, a kid from his male route who's pretty much been forgotten. After a car wreck, they meet Terry. Gary invites her into their group and even reveals his real name, Robbie. As time goes on, the group grows. Crystal shows up, she's a nurse, then Jackie, a mechanic. They hole up in a bunker for a while, and later move into the post office, piecing together something that almost feels stable. Terry really keeps things together, especially for Bean. She manages to create some sense of normal, like there's actual life after the collapse. Meanwhile, Gary builds a radio to help her reach Xavier Collins. Gary admits to Terry he has feelings for her. She gently lets him down and he decides to stick around anyway, just as her friend. Then they catch wind of a possible train route to Colorado, a shot at something better. Right as hope seems real, Raiders hit. That's when it all spills out. Ennis betrays the group. Gary makes a gut decision. He kills Ennis. It saves everyone, but that choice sticks with him. Jump to the present. Gary explains to Xavier Collins that the group was taken 12 days ago and now sits captive on a guarded train. Xavier dives right into action, crafting a bomb to cause some chaos and rescue Terry. At a swap meet, they bump into Jack and Crystal. Turns out they're alive and married now. Xavier leaves Annie's baby with them and pushes ahead. For the first time, Gary admits out loud that he loved Terry, something that hangs in the air as they march toward the enemy camp. In May 1997, with a moment that feels like a warning sent too early, a Circuit City employee is overwhelmed by repeated messages. A killer will be born June 6th at 12:01 a.m. Deliver the message. It drives him to a hospital where he intercepts a mother leaving with her newborn, Jane Driscoll. Before he's dragged away, he warns her she can be stopped. The moment lingers like a prophecy waiting to unfold. In the present, prepares to rescue Terry at the Atlanta train yard. Using his son's train set as inspiration, he builds a wire-triggered pipe bomb to create a distraction. He places Gary on lookout and moves into position, but Gary makes a quiet, devastating choice. He rewires the device and detonates it early. The blast throws everything into chaos, knocking Xavier down before the plan can unfold. As militia forces close in, Terry suddenly appears, pushing through the crowd toward him. Inside the bunker, power shifts again, reinstates as the true authority after Bain's death. At a council meeting, Jane frames Robinson for the murder, giving Sinatra the opening to reveal Link's militia and secure full control to deal with the threat. In private, Jane explains herself with chilling clarity. She's a weapon, and Sinatra is the one she's chosen to serve. Jane's past fills in the rest. As a child, guided by an imaginary friend, she commits a violent act against her mother and her partner, only to be punished and rejected in return. As an adult at the CIA, she learns to control her mind, becoming precise and dangerous. When her mentor is overlooked for promotion, Jane responds with calculated brutality, proving exactly what she's capable of. Meanwhile, new threads emerge. Dr. Gabriella Torabi investigates the name Alex and uncovers a recording of Sinatra admitting she's done terrible things for this person. After 3 years, they finally reunite, the moment cutting through everything else. The convoy's leader, Dakota, pulls Xavier aside and confirms the bigger picture. The Colorado bunker is real, 25,000 people living under Samantha Sinatra, Redmond's control. Then the situation shifts again. Terry receives a note from Gary. He has been and wants her to come back. With only hours before the train leaves, they act. Xavier takes a rooftop sniper position while Terry goes in alone. Inside, Gary breaks. He admits to killing Ennis out of jealousy and confesses he can't live without her. Terry stays steady, convincing him to let Bean go by appealing to the part of him that still matters. She walks out with the boy, and Xavier chooses not to take the shot, leaving Gary alive but alone. Inside the bunker, tension reaches a breaking point. Sinatra meets Link aboard Air Force One, presenting strength, but the conversation shifts fast. Link reveals he's there for Alex. As he leaves, one of his men calls him Dylan. Sinatra freezes when she hears his birthday, May 16th, the same as her son, turning control into something deeply personal. At the same time, everything begins to collapse. Jeremy Bradford and the architect push their plan to force the bunker open, while Presley and Hadley launch a cyber attack. The systems clash, sending the reactor toward meltdown. Elsewhere, Dr. Gabriella Torabi finally turns the tables and kills Jane before she can strike. On the train, the aftermath feels quieter, but something is wrong. Xavier wakes with a nosebleed as they continue toward Colorado, and shifts to Sinatra, who calmly walks away from the chaos, boards a private train, and enters a hidden lab. There she finally addresses the mystery directly. Alex. Caltech years before the collapse. Professor Henry Miller meets a young prodigy named Dylan, later known as Link. Dylan reveals he's built an AI-controlled quantum computer capable of predicting future outcomes in microseconds. Together, they refine it and name it Alex after Miller's wife. The breakthrough is massive and dangerous. Samantha Sinatra Redmond sees its potential, takes control of the project, eliminates Miller, and hides Alex deep within the bunker to maintain absolute control. In the present, the bunker is falling apart. The dual lockdown pushes the nuclear reactors toward overload, forcing Dr. Gabriella Torabi to take command in Sinatra's absence. She orders the doors opened and activates Protocol Exodus, triggering a full evacuation as the structure begins to collapse. Panic spreads. Jeremy Bradford fights to escape with Robinson, but the cost is heavy. Thaddeus is killed, and Robinson is badly injured. Even when she tells him to leave her, Jeremy refuses and comes back with help to get her out. Amid the chaos, Xavier Collins finally reunites with Terry and his son, James. There's barely time to process it before another crisis hits. Presley and Hadley are trapped in an elevator. Xavier and Sinatra form a brief truce, working with Link's crew to free them before the bunker collapses completely. Then Sinatra makes the final decision. She locks Xavier out of the command room and stays behind to seal the bunker, containing the meltdown so everyone else can escape. In her last moments, she sees her son Dylan and accepts what she's done. The bunker explodes, ending her story. Outside, the survivors watch everything collapse. Before her death, Sinatra gives Xavier a data key and one final mission: find a second bunker hidden beneath the Denver airport. When he questions it, her answer lingers. She believes he's already been there. The season ends with that unsettling idea, as reality begins to blur and something larger than survival starts to take shape.